Saskatoon writer and critic and so many other hats. Craig Silliphant is back with a new book, and he is here to tell us about it. I guess you're like, what, pop culture commentator?
Yeah.
Is that accurate?
I think that's fair, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
The book is called Bunny Hug Cynic, and it is in the category of non-fiction humor. So what does that mean?
Yeah, so basically it's, I was doing essays for different local medias and things like that, where they were more like these comedic slice-of-life essays. One of them was about Christmas treats that I don't like. One of them was about how I never answer my door. So they were really fun to write. They were really popular. And so this is a whole book of basically new ones, and some of them longer than, I was allowed in, more
right
internet publication, spaces.
Understood.
Yeah.
And then this is yours. You get to do
exactly.
Want, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's run through some of these things that you do touch on in here. We have God. We have swearing as an art form.
It is an art form.
Gord Downey makes some mentions. Where did these come from?
So I would say the topics they touch on are like Saskatchewan, the absurdity of the universe, my sort of personal and family experiences. There's a few pop culture essays in there. Things like you said, what Gord Downey's death meant to Canada. Yeah. There's the Bob Seger song, Old Time Rock and Roll, that I like Bob Seger. I hate that song. So there's kind of an essay about that and my daughter's birth. And then of course the centerpiece of the book is about my time working at Bonanza in the late 80s and early 90s as a teenager. Since Bonanza burned down, it's sort of taken on this life of its own in the public nostalgia imagination. And so, I wanted to write about my time there, how it all worked, and some of the strange characters that populated that place.
Bonanza is funny because I maybe went there twice in its final 10 years, but I miss it so much now.
Exactly. There's a lot of strange nostalgia for that place, but it's a very Saskatchewan thing. Obviously, it was a North American chain, but it's a very Saskatchewan thing.
Okay, well, let's talk about the Saskatchewan of it all. Bunny Hug Cynic, obvious Saskatchewan term there. And, this is your home, right? You get so much from this inspiration.
Yeah, exactly. Somebody was asking me, why would somebody not from Saskatchewan want to read this? And there's obviously lots of things in it that aren't Saskatchewan based, but I think it's just, it's often Saskatchewan's just a backdrop for these things, even if the essay isn't really about it. So one example is I spent a weekend with the Stanley Cup about 25 years ago at Candle Lake. And so the story's about the cup and how kind of cool that was and the different adventures we had with it. But it also is in the backdrop of Telwyn and Candle Lake and some of the strange characters that we met there. So it isn't necessarily about Saskatchewan, it's about the Stanley Cup. But that backdrop, I think, is so important to telling our stories and sort of how those things look.
And people in Saskatchewan, they understand the lake.
Yeah,
right?
Totally.
That is a thing about this province. And many provinces. But yeah, it lends a whole mystique to the thing. So where can we go and buy this book right now?
You can get it at Turning the Tide and McNally Robinson locally, or of course on Amazon in both paperback and Kindle format.
And where can we follow along with you?
You can go to CraigSilliphant.com. You can subscribe at my Substack, or you can find me at Craig Silliphant on most social media.
All right, Craig, congratulations on this, and thank you so much for coming in.
Thanks, Jeremy.